Welcome to Khanversations. I'm Muqtedar Khan, your host. And today I'm going to talk to you about the apparent widening of gap between US and America. Is the relationship going sour? That is the question that I want to address. I just want to make a few comments, preliminary comments, and then we will. I intend to talk to you for about 10 to 12 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes. Then I'll be happy to take your questions and your comments. And as always, people who are either members of Conversations or provide super chats and super thanks will have their questions answered first. So, this is the question that I really want to ask. Is the US India relations becoming uh, troublesome at the moment? Is there trouble in the relationship? And is it going to impact the trade deal? Because I'm reacting today to what the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said to an Indian American forum. I will be sharing those comments. So basically, what has happened is in the past few days, especially uh, uh, during the Operation Sindoor and subsequently, there have been some tensions that have arisen primarily because of the way Donald Trump first tried to take. He's still taking credit actually for the ceasefire, insisting that it was the phone calls made by American officials, J.D. Vance, the vice president, and Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, who is also the national security advisor. Their conversations with Prime Minister Modi, Dr. Jaishankar, and Ajit Doval, and then the Pakistani counterparts. He said they were all on the phone all night, and they managed to convince the two countries to move towards the ceasefire. This is what Donald Trump, he announced the ceasefire before anybody else and has been consistently taking credit. It's a source of irritation for India and Indians because Indians like to say that it's a bilateral thing. The Indian position is that Pakistani DGMO, Director General of Military Operations, called his Indian counterpart on the hotline and said, "Okay, let's stop." And the Indian agreed. In fact, Shashi Tharoor today or yesterday in Brazil also made the point that Donald Trump had no direct influence on the ceasefire. It was essentially a bilateral conclusion between the two DGMOs. But Trump continues to say that, and he has added to it by saying the reason why the ceasefire happened was because Trump used trade as a leverage. In fact, in a court document here in the US, the Trump administration argued that the tariff as a weapon is very important for the president because there is an application in the courts here saying that Donald Trump does not have the authority to increase tariffs. The job of imposing tariffs belongs to according to the U.S. Constitution, belongs to the Congress, and so Donald Trump is using an emergency law which does not really apply to the current circumstances. So he's falsely claiming that there is a national security emergency and using tariffs. So, in that defense, again, the Trump administration said, look, the tariffs are so important. The president used the tariffs to stop a potential escalation into a nuclear conflict between India and Pakistan. So, so I want to talk about two things. One, I want to share with you the video, and let me see uh, if I can share that video with you about basically what Lutnick said in this context. And let me go here to the live channel. So, Logos, welcome. Walaikum salam. Can you tell me if you are able to see the PowerPoint slide that I am showing right now? Are you able to see that? No, you're not. So let me, oh, you were able to see it. So let me go back there again and go to the window. Here it is. So there it is. So are you able to see this particular slide? Yes, it is showing on my web page. My question really is it showing to you guys too? So just let me know if it is visible. Saurabh Pandeyji, thank you very much. Yes, Khansa. All right, so let me see now if I can play this video. This is what I want to play. This is what Lutnick said, and then we will look at it.
But, there were certain things that the Indian government did that generally rub the United States the wrong way. For instance, you generally buy your military gear from Russia. That's a way to kind of get up, you know, under the skin of America if you're going to buy your armaments from Russia. So I think India is starting to move towards buying the military equipment from the United States, which then goes a long way. And these kind of things, just creating that relationship, being a part of BRICS, yep, right? Which is, oh, let's move to not support the dollar and dollar hegemony. That's not really the way to make friends and influence people in America. So, you know, the president calls that out directly and specifically, and the Indian government is addressing it specifically and directly. And that's how you move on to a really positive place, is put it on the table, address it straight on, resolve it straight on, and get to a really good place. And I think that's where we are.
So this is what he did in this video, and it was to me quite fascinating the way he put it. He only talked about two reasons why the Trump administration is at the moment upset with India. And one is that India was buying weapons from Russia. And the other is India's membership of BRICS. And if you remember, even before he was sworn in as president, Donald Trump said that if BRICS moves ahead with the BRICS currency towards de-dollarization, then I will impose 100% tariffs on all BRIC countries. He was really, really mad. And then, after that Trump statement came up, India completely surrendered. Dr. Jaishankar came out and gave a statement saying, "Oh, India is not interested in de-dollarization. We are heavily invested in dollar trade. We have no such intention." Even though India has been one of the big players. If you go back 2 years, you will find India was doing a lot of talking about de-dollarization, about doing dollar trade, about eliminating. For some reasons, a lot of Indians think that the only source of American power and wealth is dollar, as if it happened just like that. And if anybody else had dollar, they would also be powerful and rich. No. The reason why dollar became the reserve currency is because America is such a dominant economy. Even today, America is about 30% of the global GDP. The global economy is about 105 to 115 trillion dollars, and the US is about 31 trillion dollars. So the US is about 28 to 30% of the global GDP. It is really enormous. That is why the dollar is the reserve currency. So suddenly India has backed off on that, but not on the Russian weapons. Even today, there is so much of talk of India buying Su-57. There is no talk in India about buying F-35s. So I think that is one of the reasons why Lutnick brought this up, because he's saying that, okay, they are trying to do a bilateral trade agreement with us, and they are thinking of buying Russian weapons, and that is becoming irritating to the US admission, because the trade imbalance between India and America is about $40 billion, or a little bit more. So India exports about 80 plus billion dollars. We are talking of only goods, not services. So India exports about 85 billion dollars worth to the US and imports about 50, or a little less than 50. And so the trade imbalance is just $40 billion. And Trump is thinking, why are they buying stuff from Russia? If they buy those weapons from the United States, then obviously the trade deficit will reduce and it will be a more balanced trade. That's how I think the Trump administration is thinking. And of course, Indians are wondering whether the US is a reliable partner or not. And Soviet Union and Russia both have proven in the long run to be reliable when it comes to weapons, even though during Operation Sindoor, Russia did not support India as India would have expected it to. So this is one of the reasons why the Trump administration is upset, and they obviously keeps calling India what you call as the biggest, the tariff king, and so on and so forth. So there are all of those other critical statements that Donald Trump has been making about India. But there's another thing that is going on, and this is very important for us to follow. So, but first, I want to show you a video. This video is from India Today Global. So, when the Donald Trump became president, for whatever reasons, people in India were under the impression that Donald Trump is pro India. In fact, I used to have people coming here and making comments and say things like, oh, piche baat ho chuki hai, that India and Donald Trump and Modi have secretly had their conversations. They're on the same page. Trump is very pro India, and everybody that is being uh, in the Trump administration are going to be, very pro India. It's basically that everything is going to go away. The Adani case is going to go away. The Nikhil Gupta, who's still in an American jail here in Manhattan, the Panogate, that will go away, and basically America will behave as if the goal of the Trump administration is India first. There was so much jingoism. And if you have forgotten all of that, I'm going to actually show you a video from India Today. It's very brief, and it's a couple of minutes. And then after that, I want to give you a commentary. And I want you to notice, let's see if you notice how there's a discrepancy in what they are showing and what they are claiming. The video's title on India Today is Indian Americans in the Trump administration. That is the title. Indian Americans in the Trump administration. And this is how the video goes. Let me play it for you.
Trump's national security advisor. He's not an Indian, of course, but he's the India caucus head. And he's had a pro-India stance in the global vision of the country with regard to Indians, and in fact played a major role in facilitating Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the Capitol Hill. Let's now begin one by one with the names. Vivek Ramaswamy, the biotech entrepreneur who ran for president earlier, eventually backing out in complete support to Donald Trump. So after victory, Trump has decided to repay the support, making him the co-in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency, along with billionaire Elon Musk. And this is
I think I made a mistake. Yeah, I am sure.
One of the pet projects of Donald Trump. Remember that for Vivek Ramaswamy, his interviews and speech garnered attention, especially as he remained a proud American, of course, but also with his Hindu values. He's shown that both these identities can stay merged together, and how? That they don't have to be in confrontation to American values. Eventually, remember, this also helps in an understanding about India and the Indian culture. Now, we do not know about the kind of policies that Vivek Ramaswamy may eventually have toward India, but at least right now, it looks good. Tulsi Gabbard. Now, you may be surprised to know that she's not actually born in a Hindu family. Gabbard was born with Samoan ancestry and has no direct connection with India. It was her mother, Carol Porter, who gravitated toward Hinduism, eventually adopting it as a faith, and the children also started to follow. And Tulsi now continues with pride with regard to the Hindu traditions. In fact, Tulsi Gabbard's siblings' names are Bhakti, Jay, Aryan, and Vrindavan. Her love for India and the Hindu faith have been prominently seen over the past few years, especially when she met Prime Minister Modi. This was in 2016 in New York. She gifted a personal copy of the Bhagavad Gita to the Prime Minister. On a political note, in 2021, Tulsi Gabbard moved a resolution in the US Congress for protection of Hindu minorities in Bangladesh and Pakistan after the repeated atrocities they've been facing. She also made a special mention in the resolution about how the Pakistani military has killed, tortured, and drove away thousands of Bengali Hindu community members from their home in 1971. In 2017, Tulsi Gabbard was made the co-chair of the India caucus of the House of Representatives, after which she spoke about Pakistan permitting the use of its territory to terror outfits who then target India and innocent Indians and other neighboring nations. So till now, Tulsi Gabbard has spoken in favor of India, so there is hope that her position now as the Director of National Intelligence will foster India-America ties as well, specifically when it comes to security. What does this reflect for now with regard to the Trump administration? Inclusivity, diversity, trust, and responsibility. There is also one individual who's not directly in the administration of Donald Trump 2.0, but he's worth mentioning in this episode, and that's Shalabh Kumar. If you would have noticed, he was seen throughout Trump's campaigns recently and previously too. He is an Indian American industrialist. He has founded the Republican Hindu Coalition, the RHC, and consistently spoken in favor of India. So, Indian Americans would cautiously be watching about how Trump's administration's equation is with the Indian American immigrants and eventually relationship with India. But it's not just about Republicans. Even when we looked at the names of the Democrats, just in this election, Americans have elected 6 members of Congress that are of Indian origin, dubbing them as a.
All right, so I'm going to stop this. These are the 6 members of the US Congress. Notice they are all Democrats. There is no Republican, Indian American of Republican origin who is a member of the US Congress or the Senate. All of them are Democrats, except this guy. He is from Michigan, and he behaves like a Republican more than a Democrat when it comes to foreign policy, but on everything else, he's also very much of the Democratic Party. So if you notice, there was a lot of this kind of enthusiasm in India at the time of the Trump administration, and I kept saying, if you were watching Conversation at that time, I had kept warning again and again. I said, you're confusing America first with India first. And now, yesterday, Palki Sharma of the First Post did a whole video on this very same comment made by Lutnick. I think just 4 or 5 hours ago, I saw that. I did not want to take a clip from that because I don't know how they would react. I have been on India Today on their show, so I'm assuming they will not object to me using a couple of minutes of their show. But Palki Sharma is attacking the US and saying that all these pro-India people have been marginalized. For example, Michael Waltz, who was the head of the India caucus in the Congress for many years, very pro-India, he was made the national security advisor, but behind Trump's back, this guy was texting with Netanyahu and plotting with Netanyahu to attack Iran, even though Trump repeatedly said during the campaign many times that he does not want a war with Iran, and Israel is desperate to start a war with Iran, then the US will be under pressure to come and attack Iran, because Israel knows that it cannot do the job on its own without the US. Israel can't fight anybody without the US. From day one, since October 7th, even against Hamas, US has been sending billions of dollars in aid, over $30 billion, and multiple consignments of weapons, everything else. So Netanyahu and Michael Waltz were trying to drag the US into a war. In fact, I'm surprised that he was sent to the UN. He should have been sent to jail as a traitor for collaborating with a foreign country to manipulate US foreign policy to advance the national interest of a foreign country. I don't know why people think that if you are a Hindu American, you are going to be pro-India. No, you are an American official. You're going to be pro-America. This whole assumption that Tulsi Gabbard converted to Hinduism because her mother converted to Hinduism and because her brothers and sisters have Indian names, that they are going to be pro-India. No, it doesn't happen that way. There are some cases where this happens, but then you get very exposed. The public will not tolerate this. Just last week, when Vivek Ramaswamy posted his wedding anniversary photographs, the MAGA crowd, and I'm not talking about Democrats, these are his own party members, the MAGA crowd kept telling him that you should be deported, go back to where you came from. So the racism in the Republican Party is very profound. It's the party of the racists. I don't know why Vivek Ramaswamy and these Indian Americans are associated with the Republican Party. They are against foreigners, they are xenophobic, they are Hinduphobic, and they are also. I did a show on Vivek Ramaswamy. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can search and you can find I have actually posted videos of Christian pastors of the Republican Party who were attacking Vivek Ramaswamy for being a Hindu, saying, so if he becomes president, are there going to be all these idols in temples? And they were very derogatory towards Hindu gods in their criticism of Vivek Ramaswamy. But for some reason in India, uh, anything is like a big shusha on their media. I think one of the most useless medias in the world is India. That's why India ranks 151 on press freedom in India. There is no press freedom. You have to, just be cheerleaders for a particular party and a particular movement in India. Otherwise, you have no freedoms. Nevertheless, this is very troubling. All the so-called pro-India people in the Trump administration have been marginalized. Michael Waltz has been kicked out from the position of the national security advisor. He's at the UN, and that position, with from the US point of view, is not very important. That was the position that Nikki Haley had in the first Trump administration. The second thing that has happened is Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard came to India, gave a big talk, met with Narendra Modi after she became the director of national intelligence. But now, where is she during Operation Sindoor? Did she provide intelligence to India the way the Chinese provided online, day-to-day, real-time intelligence to Pakistan? Did India benefit from Tulsi Gabbard being the director of national intelligence? No. We haven't heard a peep out of Tulsi Gabbard. And then Kash Patel. This video was made before the India Today video that I showed was made before Kash Patel was confirmed. And Kash Patel is the director of FBI. He has a huge counterterrorism budget. He could have come out, and if you look at his testimony to the Senate when he was confirmed during his confirmation hearing, he identified Islamic radicalism as a big threat to the United States. So why didn't he come out and say, "Oh my God, what happened in Pahalgam is Islamic radicals attacking India, and so I'm going to help India, and I'm going to have a special FBI counterterrorism unit focused solely on Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Tayyiba, and I'm going to focus on these two." No, no such thing at all. He is absolutely quiet. And of course, Vivek Ramaswamy is completely been marginalized. So just as Michael Waltz was sent away, so was this fellow, Vivek Ramaswamy. He's now running to be the governor of Ohio. After Elon Musk left Doge, he's now attacking Trump. It's where he called the big beautiful bill disgusting abomination today. So Elon Musk is now, I think, turning on Donald Trump. But anyway, after he was basically he quit, or he was fired, or basically he's left Doge. So there was a lot of talk of bringing Vivek Ramaswamy back to head Doge. I don't know whether he would have taken the job, because the election for the governor of Ohio is in 2026. He is already announced, and he's campaigning. So he's out there campaigning to be governor of Ohio. But what is interesting is whether he wins or loses, he's marginalized. Even if he becomes the governor of Ohio, he's probably going to be there for 8 years. And we will see what happens 8 years from now. Luckily for him, he's young. He's about 39. So he'll still be 47, 48, and he can still be able to run for president in 2032. But right now, all of this in pro-India people, I'm not sure whether they were pro-India, but what the Indian public and the Indian media was saying are pro-India, they have been completely marginalized from the Trump administration. Partly because those people here who tend to be pro-India also tend to be pro-Israel. And Donald Trump has, in a very strange way, is very aggressively trying to fight anti-Semitism in the US, but is also cleaning house. Just 2 weeks ago, over 100 people from the National Security Council were fired, and some of them were very prominent pro-Israeli appointees. So it is very interesting to see that people who are pro-Israel also have been marginalized, except Marco Rubio, and people who are pro-India also have been set aside. I think Donald Trump is irritated with India, primarily because he thinks India has exploited the US with large tariffs. Even Lutnick, when he was talking, he said a lot of nice things about Indians, and Indians are motivated, they're very hardworking, and India has a fantastic economy, it will grow. He was not very specific in answers about Indian economy. He just said that the trade deal usually takes 3 years, but we are working very hard. We will soon announce a trade deal which is beneficial for both countries. And then he brought it up. He again brought it out. The problem with India is that it does not allow uh, us to basically Indian markets are protected. They do not allow us to access Indian markets. So Lutnick was complaining a lot about India. So it does appear as if the Trump administration internally, in their conversations, are talking about how India has exploited the United States and therefore has a $40 billion trade positive trade balance with the U.S. Trump, for some reason, thinks having a trade deficit is like a loss. Uh, Not really, trade having a trade deficit does not necessarily mean it's a loss. Plus, as I have said before, Trump does not look at the exports of services that the US provides. Yes, India blocks American services, but still, you have Netflix, you have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have Instagram, you have LinkedIn. So, all of these American services, IT services, etc., are going to India. And the US has close to $1 trillion, I think, positive balance of trade when you look at services. The consulting services, American universities make $40 billion a year. About $7 billion of that come from India alone. That is not factored in the trade deficit. So if you include that as an export, education as an export to India, because if you remember, of the undergraduates who come to the US, only 17% stay back, and the rest go back to their countries, including India. It's only the ones with advanced degrees who stay back. So I am worried that the India US relations today are not as strong and as robust and as healthy as they were during the last few months of the Biden administration. Uh, Now, the question is this just an irritation? Or is this going to impact the bilateral trade agreement? Because I think Trump's irritation with India was also responsible for the comments he made about Apple, and was irritated. The moderator asked Lutnick what he thought about India as a manufacturing, about investing in Indian manufacturing. And Lutnick pivoted around and said, we are more interested in bringing advanced manufacturing to the US. And clearly, they were talking about Apple without mentioning the term Apple. So I think Trump is also irritated by all of this, saying, okay, so they have a trade deficit with us. They have barriers to our companies going and doing services in India. They have completely closed off their agricultural center. We can't send our corn. We can't send our wheat. We can't export all of this to India. And on top of that, they want to take our companies and their manufacturing away from us. And so I think those I think are the irritants, and we'll see, because we are already in June now. Today is June 3rd. Here it must be June 4th in India, but we are just about a month away now, where the Liberation Day, July 4th, when the reciprocal tariffs kick in. So it's going to be a big test of Trump. Some people are calling him Taco Trump, because they said Trump always chickens out, in the sense that he imposed 145% tariffs on China and then withdrew that and brought it all down to 30%. So his threat of imposing tariffs across the board on July 4th, reciprocal tariffs, will that stick, or will he withdraw it? That will be interesting to see. So I think that there are some irritants now between the Trump administration and the Indian administration. They are more of diplomatic nature. The interests of the US and India are very similar. And from a broadly strategic point of view, there are lots of common interests and common values between the two countries. Compared to China, the US is still a democracy, so is India. And the US continues to see India as an important ally in the Indo-Pacific. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, when he spoke at Shangri-La, basically emphasized the United States' commitment to the Indo-Pacific security, for keeping the Indo-Pacific free and open, and balancing and pushing back against China's aggression in the region. So there is a lot that India and United States have in common and share. So I think while there are some irritants in the relationship, I think the relationship is not really in big trouble. So now I will be happy to take your questions, and we will. Uh, Let me see what's here on the questions. So yes, Logos, Walaikum Salam, Saxena, Saurav Pandeji, yes sir, hello. Uh, Trump is getting agitated and losing. I don't know. Hansa, you being there, please let us know what's going on in the US. So Trump is frustrated, SKS 18169. Trump is frustrated because there's a lot of resistance to what he's trying to think. He thinks he's trying to save America. He's trying to bring manufacturing to America. He's trying to save his constituency. He wants to save America's economy. He wants to save America from foreigners, from immigrants. But court after court after court is blocking him in many, many ways. So the US judiciary, even judges appointed by Donald Trump himself, have been blocking Trump's political agenda, especially with regards to immigrants and deportations. So he's very irritated with that. He's also irritated with some of his own party members who initially tried to block his own bill. He is pretty much worried that the big, beautiful bill may not pass in the Senate. There are lots of frustrations. He bragged about ending the Russia Ukraine war. It's not ending, and he's worried that he might be forced into a position where he will have to help Ukraine provide aid. He does not want to send any military aid to Ukraine. He wants to continue to have some kind of a rapprochement with Russia, but Russia is not playing ball. He's trying to bring ceasefire in Gaza. Even that is not happening. And all European partners, including Canada, have turned against Israel. So, for example, Canada today started investigating Canadian Israelis. So, Canadians who are now committing war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza are going to be prosecuted by Canada, and they are being investigated. That was announced today. Canada, UK, and France threatened to recognize the Palestinian state. So, all of this, whether it's foreign policy or domestic policy, and then on top of that, he tried to take credit for the ceasefire between India and Pakistan so he could have a win on the foreign policy. Even that is being denied by India. So generally, I think he's quite frustrated. He's a little bit happy that, yes, we got 70 extra billion dollars in tariffs in the last 4 months. But even that agenda is not going as well as he wants it to, and so I think his frustration is increasing, and we will see something give. He might just burst. I don't know, with frustration and anger. Uh, when one of the reporters asked him about taco, he didn't even know about it, and he was so mad. So. Uh, Tejinder Sethi, Khan sir, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. The way Foreign Secretary of US talks about India to keep away from Russia is not at all acceptable for India and Indians. Well, then what is India going to do, Tejinder Saab? What is India going to do? India can double up and go and buy those Su-57s from Russia, but then they will have to face whatever Trump has to offer. There are costs, and so it is not like, oh, we will do this, or we will do that. Lots of people come here and make comments such as, we don't care about America, we don't care about Donald Trump. Just a few months ago there was puja of Donald Trump going on in India. Abke Paar, Trump Sarkar, all of this rubbish was going on just a few weeks and months ago. But now they suddenly say, oh, we don't care about America. But then why are so many hundreds of thousands of people applying for visas to America? Businessmen are coming here. Why send the delegation with Shashi Tharoor to the US if you don't care? So sometimes those are childish reactions, in my opinion. America is the biggest economy in the world. If you want to develop, you will have to export to India. America is still technologically the most advanced country in the world when it comes to weapons. Even in AI, it is ahead of China even now. Look at the AI environment. It's dominated by the US. India, with all its talk of digital capabilities and thousands of digital experts and computer scientists, etc., It's not in the game yet. At least China has DeepSeek and is part of the both hardware and software of AI, but India is not a major player at the moment. uh, and AI, look at Nvidia and Chat GPT, they are dominating the AI worldwide. So whether you saying something doesn't make it, uh, India US relations would be fine soon. Naveed Akhtar, lesson being taught to India. USA trade with India depends on the negotiations held between USA and China. Yes, that is true, Naveed. If the US and China reach a positive deal, there are lots of tensions going on right now. And Trump's whole argument about trying to stop deporting Chinese students, there are 277,000 277,000 Chinese students here, and he's threatening to revoke their visas and send them back, and over Taiwan. So already the trade agreement, whatever happened in Switzerland, which brought the tariffs down to 30%, is looking as if there's something that the US is demanding of China and they're not getting it, and they haven't said that yet in public. I don't know why Tejendra Singh, you're so worried about the US debt. The US debt is in dollars. It's not very big. You should see my show that I did on it. It is 1.2 of the GDP. The US GDP is about $30 trillion. The debt is $36 trillion, 1.2. India and China both are against zero point 0.9. India's GDP is $3.9 trillion. India's debt is $3.2 trillion. So compared to its GDP, it is just slightly less than 100%. So, but India can't print dollars. The US can print dollars. China can't print dollars. The US can print dollars, and people will continue to buy dollars as long as it remains the global reserve currency. India has already backed away from de-dollarization. They said, no, 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 we're not doing any de-dollarization, etc. And India now has a huge reserve in dollars. Yes, some countries are moving towards gold increasingly, but they're not going towards any other currency. And so even if gold becomes an alternative to dollar, it's not something that you will be able to trade with unless you want to make payments in gold. I don't know what you mean, Mr. M. Khan. If there's no big mind along with a big market, I don't know what that means. I don't understand that question. So anyway, so if there are any further questions or comments, I'll be happy to address them. And right next to the chat, there is a dollar sign that you can sow to support conversations. So super thanks and super chats are most welcome. And I'm going to stop with this. So if there are no more questions, there's one more last one I think I'll take. Uh, Tejinder Sethi. We'll see what happens with the trade deal. International Organization for Mediation, founded by China to settle different conflicts. Can this organization replace the UN? No, Naveed. UN is very, I mean, UN is not very effective, but it has the whole world as members, and that's why it gets its legitimacy. About 194 or more countries are members. The only country that I think which is not a member is Taiwan. Even Palestine, which is not yet a country, is still a member of the UN. So that's why the UN is the global body. So you now have to create an alternative body. Will the West join without America and NATO countries in that organization? I'm not very sure it will be, but they might be able to resolve members. Like, for example, if you're a member of BRICS, and so maybe BRICS can resolve disputes between BRIC countries, or SCO can resolve tension between SCO countries. Like the African Union, it does a pretty good job of resolving tensions between African countries. In fact, I think more and more African countries are going to the African Union for dispute resolution rather than the UN. All right. So I'm going to stop now. I'll be doing this again in Hindi on the India channel. India channel is Khanversations 2025, and I'll be doing that in 21 minutes from now. So let me take a break. Thank you everybody for watching. Until next time, I'm your host, and congratulations to RCB for winning the IPL, and to Virat Kohli for trying for 18 years. My God, after 18 years, he finally was successful in winning the IPL. He has won both the World Cups, T20, as well as the 50 over. He's won the Asia Cup and the Champions Trophy, and now IPL. So I guess the cupboard is full for Virat Kohli. Congratulations to him. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Bye.